I'll never look at the chair the same again.
I know. I cannot be the only
I'm just
one.
gonna walk across.
Oh
the
my
front.
God. You're gonna knock the
Thanks,
camera
Aunt.
over. You're not. Why?
Did you get that?
I did. Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, it is hard to choose because I can say out of all of my years as a therapist, my years doing neurofeedback have been the most satisfying. Oh, I can take that off.
What is that?
That is a PEMF device. So you need to wake up, you need to feel better, you don't need caffeine, put it on awake. So I'm using it today because I drank too much caffeine yesterday. So yeah, I think it's really hard to select out of we get into this for different reasons. I got in because of my children and their amazing results of neurofeedback. But it is hard to choose because there are so many satisfying outcomes and stories. The one that's on my mind right now is because my daughter had absent seizures, temporal lobe seizures, I think I've just always attracted them. And so we always have a handful or two in our practice at any given time. And through the years, I've had the privilege of working with Michael Pierce and other functional medicine people. And so I had this kiddo, 5 years old, came in and he had been having seizures for about 6 months. And we did a 19-channel EEG and they were very clearly epileptiform burst. And we started on some neurofeedback, and like a month later, it was summer break, and he went to grandma's for a couple weeks, and they come back and they go, "Oh, this is working so fast," because we, instead of having 10 a day, he was like only had 1 or 2 over the 2 weeks, and I'm like, interesting. And we continued to train. He got home. Well, it's not working because they're worse now. And that clued me in that maybe there was something in the environment. So we did some investigation. We got some blood work done, and that came back that there was some inflammation. And so I suggested, hey, maybe y'all should, have the environment checked for mold, because it's weird that it's common in Colorado, black mold, but it is. And so they had somebody come out and test, and sure enough, they had a lot of black mold. And so they rented an RV and moved into the RV until they could remediate the mold in their house. And they continued to do their neurofeedback training. And within a month, he was seizure-free after the mold remediation. So that's a very fun story because, again, the difference that you can see in a relatively short amount of time, this was over about a 3 or 4 month period, was dramatic. Here's a little 5-year-old, cute as he could be, but head tilted to the side, kind of a blank stare a lot of the time, mouth hanging open, to this lively, engaged 5-year-old. So even the countenance change is dramatic in some of these kids. And, there are so many stories like that. And that's the power of neurofeedback. And yes, there are a lot of modalities and a lot of things that can be helpful. And this did take a village to figure this out and to help. But I've been a therapist a long time. I just don't know of other modalities that can do that.
Well, so Shari, I want to ask a follow-up question, because did neurofeedback do that, or did getting rid of the mold do that?
Great question. Yes is the answer. I've got another little kid, 8-year-old, who similar story. A year after moving into his house, he started having seizure activity, and they did the mold, and it was insignificant. It wasn't the right kind of mold that affects the brain, et cetera, et cetera. But then the EMFs were off the chart, and there was a electric pole, I don't know all the stuff, but came down right beside this kid's bed, and he was sleeping in a metal bed. And again, we were like, this is why we're having a hard time getting on top of these. And so, having the environment checked I think is going to make the difference. It wasn't like the seizures went away when he was not exposed. I think it was that the exposure triggered a sensitive brain, and we were doing neurofeedback regulation, but you can't say, well, would it have taken longer? Would the seizure pattern have gone away without neurofeedback? That's a good question, but I don't know the answer to that. What I do know is it was what we were doing that helped us discover what the trigger was and remove it. And we were also teaching this kid self-regulation at the same time. And so we got ahead of it because we removed the irritant. Would he have eventually stopped having seizures without neurofeedback? Possibly. And I will say the same thing. We're still in process with this 8-year-old with the EMF exposure. But my hope is, again, even though he's been having them for a year, that now that they've figured that part out and removed it, we will move forward with our neurofeedback and get this kid to where he no longer has seizures. But stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you.